You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the honor and the privilege of having Karlyn Ankrom. Karlyn, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Ken. I'm excited to chat.
Okay, so we're going to talk about social media today. If you will, give our listeners and viewers a little background of how you got to where you are today and a little bit about your company.
Absolutely. So I'm the founder and lead strategist at OSnap Social. We're really dedicated to creating compelling content with and for our clients that leads to ultimately a conversion. And how did I get into this? Oh, how much time you got? No, I have been in this industry for 15 plus years. It's even crazy to think that social media has been around that long to even think about it, because it seems like there's something new and fresh every single day, which I find fun, where my clients find a little frustrating, but I think it's super fun. I have a journalism background. I went to school, my degree's in journalism. I've always loved writing from a really, really young age. And I got to the point in my career, because I'd worked for membership organizations and agencies doing the exact same thing that I'm doing now, social media, content creation, communication, writing, all the things, that I was like, I can do this myself. So I started, it all came out of really getting laid off from these startups that, mismanaged their finances, et cetera. And I started OSnap Social on the side, and I built it to kind of have quite a good little nest egg going before I launched fully into it full time, quit my, my 9 to 5, and what do we say in entrepreneurship, and switched it for, 24/7 role. But yeah, I've been loving it. It's a challenge. Every day is different, but I also can't imagine myself working for anyone else traditionally anymore. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. We've been in business for 6 years full time, 8 years total with the side years I put into it. So
Great.
a journey.
So, a lot of lawyers I talk to, they have a hard time doing the social media, and for different reasons.
Yeah.
One's time. Number two is they really don't know what content to put in. And, my question you run off start, and I've heard people say that it's kind of hard to get somebody from outside to do your social media because it needs to come from your voice inside. What do you say to that?
I think that's sort of my magical power. Being in the journalism world, I've had to write for different publications that have different voice and tones. However, just like in the finance space, the law space is very similar. It is a highly regulated industry. I am not a lawyer, nor do I claim to be a lawyer. However, I always view my client and company relationship as more of a partnership.
Okay.
Because you're right. Only you can be you, truly. AI is getting pretty scary good, but for now, for all intents and purposes, you can only be you. I can work to learn your language, how you speak, words you say, words you don't. But in the end, it really is a partnership. And we pride ourselves in a very fast learning curve to learn our clients how they speak, what they say, what they don't. And we take note of that, where I know that clients have come to me and be like, we've told these nuances to our marketing team, XYZ, and they just keep on rinsing, repeating the same, I'm not going to call it an error, but the same mistakes over and over again that don't sound like us, that are not true to our brand and how we want to put ourselves out there. And so we pride ourselves in keeping track of those nuances to be able to shorten the learning curve. But at the same time, I view outsourcing social, especially for folks in the law space, to actually be a power move, only because depending on the field of law you're in, having those more approachable conversations and kind of bringing your thought leadership to a place of true understanding by your ideal clients is sometimes necessary, because we often know so much about what we talk about that we're not really good at bringing it down a notch to meet our audience where they are. And that's where for us as an agency, that's where we try to help our clients simplify their thought leadership in a way that can be actually received well by their
Understood.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Sometimes,
Yeah.
we assume that people know what we're talking about when really they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Like PI lawyers, which is what I deal with. We did
Yep.
a study, and it was we did a big study, commissioned a study, spent about $40,000, and it was amazing that still 50% of the people out there did not know that personal injury lawyers don't charge anything up front. I mean, we just assume that they know that we work on a contingency, and then when you say the word contingency, they don't know what you mean. They don't know what that word means.
No.
So,
Yeah,
I think you got to dumb it down to about a fifth, sixth grade level and everything.
absolutely.
My question to you is, when I'm marketing, any type of marketing, any media, any type, I'm always thinking what the purpose is. Is my purpose to just brand myself and get myself out there? Like this is something I thought about, and I want to ask you about it because I was in a mastermind last week with some of my lawyers, and we were actually talking about social media. And personally, just to be honest with you, I hate it. I do it, but to me, it's a time suck. I mean, I do it. I think with AI and everything, we got it down. But let me get back to my original thought is, what if you just took all your past clients and put them into an audience and just put out videos that were not trying to be direct response, but just reminding them that you're out there and that you help people so that you could get referrals. It almost like a billboard. You know what I'm saying? Where people can see you. I mean, is that a strategy you've ever used or would use?
Yeah. So I think social media, and I love what you said, it's what is the purpose? What's the goal? And keeping that top of mind is critical. Because otherwise you just feel like you're throwing spaghetti at a wall, then you're wanting to pull your hair out because nothing's working. But you really need to have that why front and center to be able to measure the metrics accordingly. Because otherwise, you're right. Like, how am I going to know it's working? It's going to ultimately feel like a time suck because you're not getting any return on it.
Right.
Now, to your point from the visibility and conditioning, maybe past clients getting those referrals, I think visibility is a big thing on social media. But if I were to take that strategy, I would actually take those videos and put it into an email, honestly, and email my past clients and asking them point blank for a referral. Hey, this is the new thing we're doing. And then sending it out directly to them because they then know exactly that it's for them. Or if you were to mirror that strategy and put it on a social media landscape, for example, you should call them out. Hey, past clients, I have something for you. Here's this new video. Here's the thing. By the way, right now we're running, if you refer us to blah, 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 then you get this, whether it's, a download, whether it's whatever you want to give them in exchange for their referral.
See, we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that. Unethical.
No. Darn.
Yeah.
Even a download. You can give them a download of a information, like a workbook or an ebook or anything.
I think you would be anything of value. You have to be careful. So what I've seen is we've got some lawyers in our groups that really do well with it, but they seem to two things that somebody like me probably wouldn't do is they're very good entertainers. What I'm saying is that they've got a TV face versus a radio face like mine. And then the other thing is, like I said, they got good content. What I'm saying is but it's a lot of it's just entertaining. I don't know that, and you tell me, but for us, I mean, we're considered ambulance chasers anyway, and which is not true, but that's the misnomer we've got. Is that, if I just go out there and say, hey, on social media, hey, if you've been in a wreck, call me. I'm great. I don't think people like that, and I don't think they're going to answer it. I think if you go out there something like, here's the 3 things you must do after you've been in a car wreck, or here's 3, and I like the 3 because it's short. I like 5 and 7, but 3, I think. And then maybe like, here's the 3 mistakes to avoid. Here's the 3 pitfalls. Here's the 3 myths. All these type of different things. Have you tried anything like that? Does that work?
I have done that in the past, but I will say the latest strategies that I'm seeing work slightly better, but the same context is instead of saying the 3 things, it's more like calling out the person, like frustrated that you've been in an accident and feel like you're taking all the wrong steps. Here's the 3 mistakes to avoid. So you're calling it out first of that ideal person that needs to perk up and listen. And you might have seen something similar to this on your own feeds where people are saying, this is for all the for me, all the authors, speakers, lawyers out there that are looking to up-level their social media. If you're not one of those, feel free to keep scrolling. But if you're here, listen in, and then you go into it. So it's like you're calling out the person, the type of person, whether they're stressed, whether they are hurt, whether they don't know what to do next. It's giving that adjective followed by the person is really the thing that clenches and pulls them in. Similarly, thinking about how to not just hook them with, like, whether it's the video or the visual of the post, but also in the caption, give them that one liner that makes them like lean in a little bit more and listen up and want to really expand and learn something. But to your point, and I love that you brought this up, people don't go to social media to be sold to. They definitely don't go to social media to typically learn much. They are there for three things: escape their reality in some capacity, feel seen, so feeling some sort of empathy, feel seen, heard, and maybe be to learn something, educate a little bit. But all of that's done through a lens of that entertainment. So I love a good alliteration. So those are like the 3 E's followed by like the entertainment umbrella. And so the fact that you're seeing that within the lawyer space is awesome, because you're right. People go there to be entertained, escape, feel something. And then by the byproduct of that, they're in turn learning, they're understanding, they are also growing the know, like, trust, especially when it comes to, law and entrusting someone with that.
So have you seen, I mean, we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, what else?
Yeah. So many.
Well, I
Pinterest, YouTube.
Pinterest, yeah. Of all those things, which things have you seen work the best for lawyers?
Yeah, I think traditionally Facebook has performed really well for lawyers. And I think Instagram is a close second. However, I would like to say it depends on who your audience is. So like if your audience is maybe more like Gen Z, younger millennials, potentially TikTok is where you need to be. If you're more like lawyer to lawyer, looking for that kind of community feel, LinkedIn is where you need to be, right? Or if you're trying to do, if you're trying to reach out to, the CEOs or founders of companies who have a lot of vehicles on the road, lots of fleets, potentially that's something too for those. So just thinking about who your audience is and knowing where they are. And if you are not sure where they are, please don't guess. When you're on a client call, hey, where do you hang out online most? Or hey, how did you find us? And you'll learn a lot from just asking that simple question and what resources are worth continuing and maybe which ones are worth kind of stopping.
Okay, I got another question. Reels. Tell us what reels are and how you would use them.
I love reels. Reels are short form video pieces of content that are, I'm going to call them like TikTok-esque style, but they are on Instagram and Facebook. So Facebook and Instagram are owned by Meta. So a lot of their features are mirrored of each other. And there are different ways that you can leverage reels. I'm a big proponent of like showing your face, being on camera, building that know, like, trust factor, sharing your expertise so that people feel comfortable reaching out to you. That's one way that you can use reels. Another way that's trending in the moment right now is B-roll content. And I'll talk about that in a second with a word wall. What did you mean by that? Okay. B-roll is essentially you doing your thing, whether you're, one time I propped up my phone in my office and did a time-lapse video of me just working. And that was the background of my content. And then on Instagram, I just put, a word wall, which is basically a caption over top of my video that says a statement or, pulls people in and then directs people to the caption to learn more. So those are 2 ways that you can use it, especially if those of us are maybe not as comfortable on camera. You can show behind the scenes of what you're doing in a day-to-day basis that you feel comfortable sharing. It could even be you making coffee in the morning if you are a coffee junkie like me, or you are walking into a courtroom, walking into the courthouse. Like those all can be things that you're doing. It shows that you're out there. It shows that you're busy. It shows what you like, who you are, that you're a human as well as a lawyer. And it's easy. And you can be collecting B-roll content every single day, but it has to be top of mind. And that's the hard part for a lot of people.
Yeah. And I've heard about music and what's trending or whatever. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think trending audio is important to notice. However, I don't think it's the end all be all. It definitely does help like sift your content to the top of the pile, so to
All right.
speak.
All right.
And an easy way to show what is trending is when you're scrolling through your reels, you'll see one, you'll probably keep seeing the same kind of audio being used over and over again. That's a good indication that it's trending. But another way to show that it's trending is has a little tiny up arrow next to the audio right at the bottom, and it's pointing up and to the right. And that way you know that, oh, that's something that's trending. I always try to stick to use cases of that audio under 10,000. Even better if you can catch the wave of the trend before 5,000. Then if you're utilizing it for your content, it will hopefully get more of a reach, get served up to your audience because it is a trending audio. But please do not try to fit, an audio into your brand if it doesn't feel like it fits, because it's really awkward and your audience can typically tell that it doesn't align. And then that works not in your favor in that
Negative.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Negative. Positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you were going to a lawyer, if a lawyer called you up and said, okay, I want to hire you, what would be the first, what would you do with them?
Yeah, I walk all of my clients through our signature framework. And the first thing is a pulse check audit. Audit, it always has like a scary connotation, but really it's just popping the hood on your existing platforms, whether it's 1, 2, or however many, to see what's working, what's not, where are there opportunities to optimize, to get more reach, to have your accounts propped up for the best success possible. And then with that, we give you loads of recommendations of what we would do next. So if that's like all you want from us, great, you can take it and run with it. The next part is the strategy. We create strategies for all of our clients for a few reasons. One, if we don't know the goal that we're trying to reach, there's no point in posting anything on social media. Like, it is what it is. If we don't have a plan.
Goes back to my purpose. What's the purpose?
Yeah, exactly. What is a purpose? What are we trying to do here? What does success look like for you on social? And I think, again, I always say for you, because it's different. All law firms, all lawyers, they could be practicing the same law, but how they approach it, who they are is different. And who they're trying to attract can be different as well. And so I always say, like, just put blinders on, understand what success looks like, create that strategy that's attainable and that you can be consistent about. And then from there, we advance that forward, whether it's we're doing it for you, we're doing it with you, or you're just borrowing our brain cells for 2 hours and we're planning it out so that you and your team have clarity on where you're wanting to take your content creation going forward. So that's kind of like the 3-step process, but we always start with an audit, because if we don't know where we are right now, how on earth can we plan where we're going tomorrow?
Have you found that videos work a lot better than static? When I say static, I'm talking about still pictures.
Yep. Yeah, video right now, I mean, and for the past, I will say like 6 years has really been the content, gold star. However, what I've been also noticing on platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, even Facebook is kind of this carousel slider post where it's telling a story or walking people through a step or taking a popular meme and like making it their own. That's also had a lot of traction. And the reason why I think these carousel posts specifically on Instagram do really, really well is it doesn't just give you one opportunity to be shown to your followers within their feed. It gives you 2, because you have up to 10 slides on a carousel post, but the first 2 are the most important, because if someone is following you and maybe they've engaged with your content in the past and they're seeing it, but maybe they just scroll right on past, Instagram's like, wait a minute, you didn't engage with that person. Aren't you still interested in what they have to say? So they'll serve up your second slide on their feed just to make sure, like, did you miss this? Like, I feel like you missed this. So next time you're scrolling on Instagram, or anyone who's listening to this, if you're scrolling on Instagram, take note of like, are you looking at the first slide in someone's carousel post or the second? And you might notice that you might be looking at the second because you might have scrolled past the first one because you didn't know who it was or it wasn't calling out to you. So I would definitely try a mix until you're sure from a strategic angle. But the other thing too, please do not use stock imagery. Stock imagery just doesn't perform the best when it's just a standalone. If you have a quote that you want to put on top of it, fine. But really own photos that you've taken yourself tend to perform better than anything.
Yeah. And I would also think, or at least we do it at Filma, is that you want to generate, I call it closed caption. I don't know what the lingo is.
Yeah, captions. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people, 75-80% of people use their phone.
Yes.
90%.
Yeah.
So, you know,
with no sound on it.
No sound because they might be in a courtroom. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's funny.
That's all. So what do you see in the future? Because I'm looking at, we had a AI conference last year and we created an avatar of me, and it was okay. It wasn't quite there, but I've got some mastermind members like Greg Ward. They're using avatars, and it looks just like them and sounds just like them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's hard with my voice because I got such a southern drawl and deep and such a twang that it's hard. It was having a hard time getting my voice. It hadn't my
likeness.
face, likeness sound great. I had to go to a studio for an hour and twist around and do all kinds of crazy things. But we want to show that what you could do. But it looks really good now. I don't know what you're seeing. I mean, are anybody doing that for social media?
I'm seeing more people test it out. One tool that I think has gotten some traction in the space is HeyGen, HeyGen. And it literally allows you to film yourself, or like, I haven't tested with a client because, to be transparent, it kind of freaks me out a little bit because it's so good that it feels weird. So what they're doing over there is it's helping CEOs, businesses, brands, etc., be able to record themselves and their voice and literally feed it a script, and it will sound like you, have the mannerisms like you, look like you. It is totally blowing my mind. But at the same time, I really value authenticity. And especially if that's if authenticity is part of your brand, I think it's hard to lean completely into an AI tool. However, if you're transparent and being like, I see it being used mostly for like crisis management, for example. Like if you just have that avatar on standby, and if you are somewhere and you can't be announcing this thing, then you can have a marketer or your assistant like feed it a script that you might have written and have it go out. But you have to be transparent that it was AI. I think that's where, for me, the line is like, I'm cool with anyone using it. I use it all the time, like from a chat GPT perspective, for inspiration for content, speed, repurposing, all of that. But the video stuff, I think we need to be very transparent of how we are utilizing it and telling our followers that it was AI generated. And, Instagram right now makes that very easy with like a tap of a button. You can tell that it was you can say it was generated by AI. But yeah, I think it's not going away. It's definitely not going away. I think it's only going to get more widely adopted and a little bit more freaky and accurate. But I think we just, as humans, as people behind our businesses and brands, just have to continue to bring the level of transparency that's acquired for being, the leader.
And are you taking advantage of this new software, like I think, where it can create, like, this is something I do. I go to a studio once a month. Maybe that's why I hate it. And I've got a book that I keep with me all the time. And as I think of an idea, I just write it down. Then I'll go to the internet, and I book the studio for an hour. I sit down and I pull out my book and I just start talking about stuff.
I love that.
Run it for an hour. Then they send it to my person in the Pakistan, and they use Opus. Opus something. I don't even know.
Opus AI.
Okay. And they do shorts with it. And then they caption it and put the thumbnails and all that stuff.
Yes.
And that's the way we're doing it. But
brilliant.
But
I love
that. I don't know. I mean, I think it's part of the marketing mix. I just
definitely. And I'm here for it because I've been doing that too. I started my YouTube channel last year, and I'm working on creating some type of system for myself before I go and obviously sell it to other people who need something similar. But like trying to figure out which is the best AI tool. Opus is one of the leaders, I know, in pulling and extracting those short form videos that you can put on Instagram, that you can put on TikTok, put on YouTube Shorts, that you're not having to create a ton of content again. It's like, how much juice can we get out of the squeeze? And I'm all for that. I've always been a big fan of repurposing content in any way because truthfully, no one remembers what they had for breakfast this morning, let alone what they saw on social media 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah, that's
let's
true.
repurpose, but do it strategically.
Good
Yeah.
deal. Anything I didn't ask you that I should have asked you that our listeners would want to know about social media? Anything
I
big?
think, can we just all agree to have a little bit more fun on social media? I feel like we've all gotten so uptight and serious about it,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
want to point fingers at the algorithm when really maybe our content just needs a little bit of a scrub-a-dub, a little uplift. Yeah, like can we just stop with stressing and have more fun? That's all.
Okay, that's good. So if somebody wants to get up with you, how can they do it, Karlyn?
Yeah, they can go to osnapsocial.com, and there's a big old green button that says book a call if you want to hang out and chat. Or you can go to /resources, and there's like loads of freebie downloads on there for you to take with you and, put into action.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And about the carousels, I learned something new. That's what I like.
Yay, good.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you for having me.
So they'll let you know when it's going out. I don't know when it
Okay.
goes out because I got like 6 or 7 in the hopper all the time.
Yep.
So
Awesome. Yeah, let me know. Happy to share it. And if there's anything, like if you guys have a mastermind or I know you seem to have a lot of great folks that are doing very well on social, which I think is awesome. So, but if you ever want someone to lead a workshop or anything inside those masterminds, just holler at me. Those are my favorite things, is creating that kind of content to help people continue to the momentum going forward. So,
okay. Thank you.
awesome. Thank you, Ken. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.